The highest offer doesn't always win. And if that surprises you, you're exactly who this episode is for. Because right now, buyers are losing homes even when they offer more money, and others are winning without being the highest price. So, what's actually going on? If you're like most buyers I talk to, you're not just trying to buy a house, you're trying to make the right decision. You don't want to overpay and you don't want to miss out. And you definitely don't want to look back later and think, I should have done things differently. So you're analyzing, you're comparing, you're trying to be smart about it. And that's exactly where this gets confusing. Because what sellers actually look for in financing is not what most buyers think. And once you see it clearly, you understand why some offers win and others don't. I'm Kevin Martini, a certified mortgage advisor and producing branch manager, NMLS 143962, with the Martini Mortgage Group at Gold Star Mortgage Financial Group Corporation, NMLS 3446, Equal Housing Lender. This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not legal or tax advice. Now, with that out of the way, here's the assumption that most buyers make. If my offer more money, you will win. It makes complete sense. But here's what nobody tells you. Sellers aren't just choosing a price. They're choosing a probability of closing. And this is where people get it wrong. Because from a seller's perspective, a higher offer that might fall apart is often worse than a slightly lower offer that is solid. So the real question becomes not how much are you offering, but how confident does the seller feel that this transaction's actually going to close? So let's look at two different paths. Path number one, guessing. You get a quick pre-approval. You submit your offer. You hope everything works out. But behind the scenes, the seller thinks, is this fully vetted? Are there some surprises coming? Is this going to fall apart halfway through? That uncertainty cost you. Now, path two is strategy. Imagine something completely different. Your financing is reviewed up front. Your income, assets, and credit are already validated, and there's no loose ends. To the seller, that feels like control, predictability, and certainty. And in many cases, that wins, even if your price isn't the highest. So what actually creates the confidence for a seller? There are four things. And the fourth one is the one almost nobody talks about. Let's simplify it. Sellers are looking for four singles. Number one, payment clarity. They want to know you can afford the home. Not loosely, not estimated, but clearly. Because financing problems don't usually show up in the beginning. They show up late. And that's what sellers are trying to avoid. The second thing is control. Do you control your financing, or does your financing control you? If your loan still has unknowns, you're introducing risk into the deal, and the seller can feel that. Number three is flexibility. Every transaction has moving parts: appraisal, timelines, negotiations. Buyers with strong, well-structured financing can adjust when needed. Buyers without it break under pressure. And finally, confidence. This is the one most people miss. Sellers and their agents can feel confident. They can feel when a buyer understands their numbers. They can feel when a buyer has a guided strategically and is not going to panic mid-transaction. Confidence doesn't come from guessing. It comes from clarity. And that is exactly why I talked about this so often. Home loan first. Because when you get the strategy right first, everything else is easier. You're not reacting. You're not guessing. You're moving forward with an intent. And that's the second layer. A same as cash mortgage approval. This is where things really shift. When your loan is fully underwritten up front, you remove most of the uncertainty. From the seller's perspective, you start to look a lot closer to a cash buyer than a typical finance buyer. And that changes how your offer is viewed. So here's the real question. How do you know if the current approval actually gives you that advantage? Let me ask you something. If a seller had two identical offers and one felt more certain to close, which one do you think they'd choose? And if your financing could be structured to feel more certain, would that change how you approach your offer? And what would it mean for you to know that your financing isn't the reason you lose a home? If you want that kind of clarity for your situation, you can reach out directly to me, Kevin Martini, at 919-238-4934, or schedule a time to talk to me by going callwithmartini.com. No pressure, just a conversation. Clarity creates certainty, and certainty creates power. If you want that kind of clarity for your situation, you can reach out to me directly at 919-238-4934, or schedule a time to talk to me at callwithmartini.com, callwithmartini.com. If this episode gave you clarity, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's next.